Hello and welcome. My name is Fake Fairy Tale and this is the 6th video in the Let's Build series. Now, I went out of my way to already create the corner for the dungeon, which is already in the map that we finished in last episode, the cave system. I didn't do the lighting and shading just yet because we'll include that when we do it for the entire dungeon at once. I think it's more or less the same. There are a few minor details that aren't exactly perfect, but that doesn't really matter. And after the video on battle map design, I decided it was time to continue onwards with this project. Now, as you can see, I haven't done anything just yet. We have this corner to work with. This does really already determine the theme of the dungeon, which will be, you know, kind of old and grungy. You have some chains and some razors lying around or standing around. So we'll probably use this kind of brick and these kinds of walls as well. But, well, maybe there are some rooms that we can change up a little bit, but we'll see about that when we get to them. Now, my idea was to create like a 2 or 3 room dungeon. You have one over here where you come in. I would like a larger room on the left hand side, maybe something on the top. And if we need, we can always expand the map and add in a few additional rooms. I don't want to make it too crazy, but see what we can do with the space that we have and add in some traps and an interesting place to fight. Maybe a treasure room, maybe a secret entrance here as well. So let's see how that goes. Now, first of all, I would like to start with some design. So for that, we're first gonna fix up some of the walls and we're gonna get a general layout to see what this dungeon is going to look like. We'll make sure that we have snap to grid turned on and see what do we want. I think this room shouldn't be too big. It could be so that it enters into some kind of cell block, which I think could be fun. That it perhaps is part of a former castle that stood here, and this is the lower dungeon that you enter through from the cave system. It reminds me a bit of Oblivion when I say that. I think that would be an excellent place to start with. Now I do have to keep in mind that the walls I'm using right here are outer walls. We can't use those as inner walls. For that we want these. So I think that we can always change that up later, of course. So let's first, we want a wall over here. We'll add in a door. I'll have to see how we can make sure that this looks nice. For now, let's finish up this cell block like so. And I think we can use some iron bars here and there. But first we'll add in a floor, which is this one. There we go. And maybe we can even, if we put this on layer -100, we can add in a few of the tiles that are a bit less broken, and let's see, these ones. We can use them as an overlay of sorts. Just place them on top of the tiles that are already there. And we're just going to create some variation. These are on layer 1. Technically speaking, I could probably also do it on layer -100. But oh well, that doesn't really matter. We'll add in a few here and there. I think that looks good. And we'll use the overlay that we have here all the way at the bottom, I believe. Here we go. Yeah, that works. There we go. We can even also make a few of these even a bit darker than the other ones. So do that, and of course we can also, if we turn off snap to grid, add in these shadow patterns over some tiles to darken them out a little bit. And that way you can still get a lot of variation into your flooring, even within the confinements of Dungeondraft. So we'll add in a few over here. And over there. Awesome. Now let's see where we want to put the door. And this is going to be, I think I want a metal, like a rusty one, to indicate that this place has been abandoned for a very long time. And we don't want it to be see-through or have holes in it so that you can surprise your party with things that are on the other side. I think I might actually choose 2 different exits from this room. We'll have some cages on this side, perhaps use some of the cage objects over here. So we should be able to add in a different room over here. Because one of the things I find very important is that dungeons shouldn't be too linear. If you only have one way to go every time, that's kind of boring. You want to be able to switch up and have your party choose different routes and have different routes come to different rooms. So while I'm at it, I already realized that we're probably going to need to expand the upper half of this area, but that's okay, that doesn't matter. For now, we're going to add in some additional walls. Yes, this works quite well actually. Cool. And I want to have the hallway be perhaps 2 grid squares wide. Maybe even 3. No, 3 is a bit too big. 3 is a bit too big. So we'll just do it like that, I think. You can always come back and change up everything, of course, so. That means that this section of wall should become, and we can change that already. And we'll place that back. Take the other wall that we have here. And we'll remove that section. We're going to probably need some kind of brick to fix up those corners because that doesn't really look very good, but that's okay. I think I wanted to turn 180 degrees so that it opens to the walls over there. I think we can find something to make that look better. And if not, we can just redo sections of the walls. That's not really an issue. So right here, I think I want to have a secret compartment because generally speaking, especially when I look at my party, they will be checking rooms for traps and checking hallways for traps. And while they're checking for the traps, they might have a chance to find this room that's hidden behind the wall somewhere over here. So what we'll do is we'll change up this wall for one, for a different one over here. There we go. And I want that room to be not too big. We'll use it maybe as a secret storage space or something. Add in a few treasure chests. So we'll go from here to there to there. These corners look absolutely horrendous. That's a problem. Like, oh well, that works. Apparently. Just add in additional control points to fix them up a little bit. It's not really pretty either, but like these corners is something that we can obscure with some pillars, I think. Let's see while we're at it. if we have something that can work for us here. These new ones look cool. I like them. And we'll put it on layer above walls. Like that. That doesn't do much. Maybe we should... This could work. That's quite alright, though you do see that this section of wall is kind of stretched out. So this is something that we can use, that's good to know. Maybe we can add in some metal studs somewhere as well. Not sure, we can see about that later. This is not, it's not perfect, so we're going to look into the objects that we have that I used for the cave system as well, which is modular dungeon. So these are the inwards corners and we want outwards corners. Okay, so sorry that I zoned out there a little bit. I got puzzled by the selection of tools and walls that I had over here, and I couldn't for the life of me find these corner out walls. But now that we can, I'm just gonna redo this entire section like so, and we'll turn snap to grid on, and we'll just build our dungeon from this. Just to prevent that we have to use those really weirdly, or we have to fix those corners because they simply don't look good. And I want to try and stay away from that. So now we have to find a proper wall stretch, wall section that we can use over here. I think we can just make our own corners. There we go. I'll just do it like so. And some over here. One over there. And we can use these kind of stones to just slap together some alright looking wall sections. Because I'm going to darken out the backside of these walls anyway, like we did with the cave system. So you won't notice these areas, so we won't have to fix them. That's just to make it all easier for ourselves here. And we'll do it here. And we want a small wall section over here as well. Does it look alright? I think so. We'll just use these bricks to obscure the not so nice looking areas. I think in the end we won't notice a thing of that. I do notice actually that this is a bit harder than expected. That's okay. Oh, these wall sections work. So let's remove that. And that one. And those. And we'll just place these in here. And I think I want these to be underneath the walls. Like so. And like so. Awesome. Okay, now we have to fix up our last corner over here. Let's see what we can find there. Maybe we can actually do it with a mildly different corner, just for the sake of change. So our rooms are not all perfectly square. I think I like that actually. There we go. All right. Now I also noticed that there's a slight change of colors, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and fix up the entire dungeon that we have. Make sure that they have the same objects. We'll place invisible walls at the end to make sure that they block light. And I can do this on fast forward because this is going to take me a moment, and I'm not sure if that's so interesting that you want to follow that all the way through. So I'll be back with you guys in a few minutes. Alright, and welcome back. I decided to just do the entire layout of the dungeon instead of just fixing up the walls that were there, because it's, as you might have already seen, quite a lot of monkeying around with all the different pieces and making sure that they fit together. And it was quite a bit harder than I expected, but in the end I think I have a result that I like and that we can build a cool dungeon around. I also enlarged the map twice, and I'm gonna do it like once more still on the left at the top, at the not the bottom side, left and the top side, just to get a bit of extra space, like a proper border around the map. I think in the end it will look just that bit better. One over there, and then we change map size on the top side as well. Could have done that in once. There we go. I will just make sure that it's black. That's negative space, so that doesn't really matter. So I have a few different rooms. This one is going to be at the bottom over here, some kind of a holding cell. We have a secret treasure room like we discussed before. Like right here, I want to create some kind of interesting boss room, boss fight. We could barricade this door. You have some assets in the new Forgotten Adventure packs that could do that for you. That could be cool, so they could encounter this area, try to either force their way through or realize that they can't go that way. The problem with that is, however, that you'd seal off this entire entranceway to the dungeon. It's kind of pointless at that point. So I think that might do more harm than good, but we'll see. We have the other side. I was thinking about like some sort of guard room that could guard this space, as well as some kind of study, or potentially something with water, just for some variety over here. I could leave a sort of a basin over here with some water. Maybe it streams out, maybe it doesn't. Then we have a secret entrance over here to the larger boss room. I think I want to make a pit in here as well, with water, that you have like two small ridges that you can walk past it. That could give an interesting encounter. These areas were, I think, will suit as a trap. I want to make this a sort of Bloodborne / Dark Souls kind of dungeon, where you have some pressure plates here and there that could really mess up your day. We won't put that in the map because that would give a visual clue to your players, but we will add them in the notes for this map. And I was intending to add in some monsters as well, along with some traps, and just make this a full-fledged dungeon that you could run. And we'll just release that and do that together on stream, or on video. So I think the general layout is quite alright. I did have to puzzle a lot with these areas, and I eventually found a fix for it, especially the places where we were adding in doors, or where you had to add in these kind of walls that are walls on both sides, instead of these who have like walls on one side and negative space on the other. You still have like these areas, but that's okay because we're gonna hide that all away. But they were quite hard. When you try to do this, I'd recommend you to use the, let's see if I can pop them up here, like this small dungeon end area. It works quite well to either place in these kind of areas to just create a bit better corners. Make sure that it looks all that much more as if it's supposed to be that way. Like over here we can do that. It's not perfect, but you have to zoom in really closely to notice that there's something off there. And I did that especially in the areas where we have doors. Those are quite tricky. And like these over here, this doesn't really work. I'm not sure if this does anything better for us, so we'll just make sure that this is on low here. Yeah, there we go, 700. And we did it on the other side as well. I might revisit the doors because it looks a bit weird if they're halfway underneath. Potentially, if I can just... Let's see if we can make this work. Put this on layer 2. Go up a bit further to the back. Or we keep them above and try to hide them away with these things. That layer was 700. Though I suspect we're going to need that could work. Something like this. Oh well, we'll check that out in between videos. Or I'll check it out in between videos and then see what we can come up with. That's no problem. The next step is adding in the negative spaces and the flooring, though that is something I'm going to save for another video because the puzzling with the walls of the dungeon took me more time than expected, and I think that the video has gone on for long enough. So please let me know what you think of the layout, if there's anything you'd like to see changed or that you would do differently. I'm very curious to hear what you think about it. If you liked the video, please hit the like, favorite or subscribe button, and I hope to see you again in the next video.